He suffers from the Polk effect.
Daddy?
Probably a bowl team.
Daddy! Hey, Daddy, I want Husky.
You want to wear this Husky hat?
Yes.
Okay. Do you love the Huskies? Did you watch them get their butts kicked yesterday? Wow. Playing packages to stop the pass. We've seen in the first two games, the Huskies tried to establish a run game. Keith Price, how good really was he last year, and has he regressed? He's not regressed. He's a good quarterback. He suffers from the Polk effect. Chris Polk, arguably one of the best running backs in Husky history, is not on the team anymore. When he was, the Huskies were really a run-first option. And in some of the games last year that we won toward the second half, when we weren't able to move the ball in the air, we grounded out on the ground. Right now we don't have that option, so there's a lot of pressure on Price to make plays against teams that are playing packages to stop the pass. We've seen in the first two games, the Huskies tried to establish a run game. Not very successful. I think San Diego State will pan out to be a pretty good team.
Daddy?
Probably a bowl team.
Daddy! Hey, Daddy, I want Husky.
You want to wear this Husky hat?
Yes.
Okay. Do you love the Huskies? Did you watch them get their butts kicked yesterday? Why? So Keith Price has not regressed. Without an offensive line first, a running back that can control the clock, get first downs, there's really hardly a chance for a quarterback to become a very, very good quarterback. Last night's LSU game looked a lot like our loss at Stanford, although the Stanford loss was a little harder, not just because it was a Pac-10 game. It's because going into that game, there was actually some hope. I recall watching that game in Los Angeles with Suck and Maynard and Rick, and it was pretty painful. It was painful primarily because against a world-class defense, the Huskies couldn't get it done. We saw that last night versus LSU. And also, like LSU, Stanford ran the ball on us. My point exactly about the Polk effect is Andrew Luck, we are going to find out if he's actually the quarterback, the all-world best prospect since Peyton Manning was at Tennessee crown that people have given him. We're about to see if he's that good. It'll take a number of years. Quarterback is the hardest position in all of sports. But Andrew Luck benefited from a very, very solid running game. And in fact, he didn't have very much of a passing game against the Huskies. They didn't need to do it. They ran the dive play the entire last quarter and the half of the game. So that's really the scoop on Kevin Price. What's good about playing LSU is that we can eliminate all pretense about how good the Husky football team is. We have the Stanford, USC, Oregon schedule coming up, which we probably won't win any of those games. There's a chance against Stanford, but I'm not sure if we can't establish a running game. I know things have changed over at Stanford, but they still have the core of their defense, and they still run the ball. They didn't need Andrew Luck to beat the Huskies last year. Unless we put a good game plan together and we improve a little bit on the offensive line, we won't beat Stanford. However, the reason why they play the game is because you never know what happens. That's the reason why the LSU game was played. There was going to be no whammy in Miami yesterday. The team is not good enough, and it would have actually been probably the greatest upset in the history of the program if we were to go down and beat that team at that stadium after after they came off the national championship game. They're hungry, and really tip of the hat to Les Miles and LSU. What a classy coach and program. I think if that were a Steve Spurrier-led team, it would have been 67-3, 67-10. So putting all of it in perspective, our team is getting better. It's not this continuum with college football teams because people graduate. Sometimes players regress. We lost a lot of senior leadership in the receiving corps and Chris Polk. And we play in a much tougher football conference than we did even when we were going to Rose Bowls. I mean, that combination year in and year out of USC and Oregon for the foreseeable future being potentially top 5 every year is really makes the Pac-12 a better conference than it was 10 years ago. What does that mean for the Dogs? That means we need to be real. We need to shoot to be a top 4 team in the Pac-12 and start building our team. Let Coach Wilcox build up our defense, and let's make sure that every offensive lineman that's a Washington prep goes to UW. I wanted to bomb it during the Stanford last game, watching that young all-world lineman Castro. I think he went to Mercer Island, or he went to Bellevue High School, and he was a Stanford Cardinal. I know Stanford's a little bit different school because anybody that gets a chance to go there, their parents would want them to. But we need to keep offensive linemen in Washington. Go Dogs.